LestatYGO here, hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be profiling my Darklord deck. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. You can comment down below, I always enjoy interacting with you, and please consider subscribing for more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh content. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. First, we're playing triple copies of Melodious Refrain, one copy of Melodious Couplet, and one copy of Melodious Concert. This is going to be your primary starter cards that will enable your condemned Darklord plays. Essentially, you want to do is you want to normal summon your Refrain. This will add your Couplet to hand. You're then going to scale your Couplet to add your Concert. And then you're going to activate Concert to Fusion Summon. So these will go right into your extra deck for your Bacha. Chain Link 1, 2, 3. The Melodious monsters here will just end up in their scales, and then Bacha will allow you to summon another Refrain from deck. And then you're going to use these as link material to help go into your condemned Darklord. Since Bacha was sent to your graveyard, your Concert will activate, allowing you to place it on the bottom of your deck, and then you can draw a card. So that is how your starter plays will occur. Next, we are playing a Horus engine. We're playing triple copies of the Glory of Horus, one copy of the Blessing of Horus, one copy of the Guidance of Horus, and then we're playing triple copies of the King's Sarcophagus. So these are in here to enable your rank 8 plays, such as your Zombie Vampire. The Zombie Vampire is in here to get your Darklord spells and traps into graveyard, because Darklords focus on applying effects from the graveyard. So with the Zombie Vampire, you can detach a material, mill the top 4 cards of both players' decks to the graveyard, and if either player happens to mill a monster, you can summon that monster to your field. But we're primarily using it to get our Darklord spells and traps into graveyard. And then obviously we're playing other rank 8s, like our Folk Time Lord for monster negates, Hope Harbinger for spell negates, one Cypher Dragon to steal our opponent's monsters if needed to help go into link monsters. And then we're playing the one copy of Cypher Blade for removal. Getting into the Darklord monsters, we're playing triple copies of Darklord Ishel. This is one of the Darklords that can apply effects. You can discard her, another Darklord, to draw 2 cards. This is our primary draw engine. We're going to be using it in tangent with our Darklord Superbia because we want to see our Superbia in the graveyard. That way we can revive it to bring back another fairy along with it, which is nice. For the other Darklords that can apply effects, we're playing one copy of Darklord Nastin. You can pitch 2 Darklord cards from a hand to the graveyard to special summon this. The benefit of pitching cards from a hand to the graveyard, again, it's more Darklord effects that can be applied. One copy of Darklord Amdusk, which can recycle your Darklord cards from the graveyard, and one copy of Tezcatlipoca, which could prevent the destruction of our Darklords. So we do have a hand trap that we can make good use of. We are playing one copy of Darklord Ukobach. This is pretty much a Foolish Burial whenever it's normal or special summon. We're playing one copy of the Capricious Darklord. This allows you to tribute summon for a fairy during your opponent's turn. So this card is really nice. Also, if it leaves the field, your opponent's monsters lose 500 attack times the number of fairy monsters on the field. And we're playing Darklord Morning Star. You're going to be using it primarily as fusion material for the first Darklord, because whenever it's used as fusion material, the first Darklord can destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Also, if Morningstar is tribute summoned, you're able to special summon Darklord monsters from a hand and or deck equal to the number of effect monsters your opponent controls. And you can replenish your life points by milling cards from the top of your deck times the number of Darklord monsters on the field. For every Darklord card milled, you gain 500 life points. And then the first Darklord prevents your fairies from being targeted by your opponent's card effects. And then during the main phase, you can pay 1,000 to special summon a fairy monster from a hand or graveyard. So you can revive your Superbia from the graveyard to help you extend, or you can special summon cards like Archlord Christia from your hand to lock your opponent. Speaking of, we're playing one copy of Archlord Christia. which can lock both players out from special summoning. You're not going to be summoning this unless you've established a board, because you don't want to be locked out either. We're playing triple copies of Banishment, which is your primary searcher. Triple copies of Contact, which is your Monster Reborn. Speaking of, we're playing triple copies of Spellcard Monster Reborn. This was suggested by a subscriber, and I played around with it, and I really do like it. Again, we're focused on milling cards from deck to the graveyard. That way we can apply more Dark Lord effects. But also, we're going to be milling monsters too, so we could bring back our level 8s to continue going into our rank 8s, or if our opponent targets something in their graveyard, we can respond with this to remove that target from their graveyard to put it on our field and interrupt their play. So this has multiple uses, which is really good. And if you don't like that card, you can play another power spell in place of it. We're playing one copy of Reasoning. Again, we want to see those Dark Lord spells and traps in graveyard. That way we can apply effects. And not only that, we do get a monster on board. We are playing one copy of Shadow's Light. So you could target one of your Dark Fairies, special summon a Light Fairy with the same level from your deck or extra deck, and that can enable your rank or link plays. So, for example, you could target your Superbia to special summon Arclord Christian, no problem, but I like to do a little bit more than that. Sometimes I'll target my Capricious, and that will allow me to summon my Cupid Pitch, and then I can overlay these two for Fairy Cheergirl, and then detach a material to draw a card. Or I'll bring these two out, and then link summon for the Condemned Dark Lord, and then I'll banish this from my graveyard. That way I can tribute summon for a Dark Fairy. Another thing that I could do is that I could always target my Ishel, and then Ishel can bring out Master Flare from the extra deck, and then I can always overlay for Gustav Max if I need to deal a little bit of extra damage per game, or I can go into Bring of the End Times for negate and removal. So Shadow's Light has multiple uses, which is really nice. We're playing one copy of Duality, pretty much the same thing as Shadow's Light. You could, but this time you're tributing a light or dark monster, and depending on what you tributed, you summon the opposite from your hand or extra deck. And then while this card's in the graveyard, you can banish it to target a light and dark monster in your graveyard, shuffle both targets in the deck, and you draw a card. If you don't like this, you can play another copy of Shadow's Light, but I feel like maxing out on Shadow's Light is a little too much because most of it becomes dead. So I'm playing one copy of Duality and Shadow's Light. We're playing one copy of Card Destruction. This deck does struggle with bricking a little bit, which is fine. The Melodious cards and Horus cards help with the consistency now, so we do have a little bit of boost, but in case it happens, we do have something that can give us a fresh hand. We're playing one copy of Dark Lord Rebellion for non-targeting removal, and last but not least, we're playing one copy of Uprising to enable our first Dark Lord plays. And then getting into the rest of the extra deck, we're playing one copy of the Condemned Dark Lord. Again, you can banish monsters from your graveyard to help tribute someone for fairies, but not only that, you can pitch a card from your hand to either add to your hand or send to graveyard a Dark Lord monster, and then during the end phase, you gain 500 life points for every fairy monster on the field. We're playing one copy of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. You could use an opponent's monster's link material to help go into this, and whenever you summon this card, you can shut down the effects of your opponent, as well as prevent a special summon from the graveyard. And last but not least, we're playing one copy of World Sea Dragon Zelantis. Really cool card. This pretty much helps you interrupt your opponent by resetting the field, which is nice. I rarely go into this, so this is pretty much a flex spot. If you have access to SP Little Knight, go ahead and play it, but I don't at the moment, so this is why I'm playing this. So getting into the testing portion of the video, we're going to draw 5 cards. So we have Ishel, Banishment, Imseti, Refrain, and Uprising. So right off the bat, we're going to show you again how Refrain does it. So we're going to Refrain. We're going to add this to hand, but this time we're going to scale it. That way we can search for Concert. We're going to activate Concert, so these will go to the extra deck here. We're going to summon Bacha. And again, chain links will happen. So chain link 1, 2, 3. These will just pretty much end up in their scales again. And then we get to summon another refrain from the deck. You're going to link these away as link material. Link your damn Dark Lord. And because Bocce was sent to the graveyard, you can place this on the bottom of your deck. And then draw a card. Next, you're going to send these, besides this effect, send these to the graveyard to add King Sarcophagus to hand. And then you're going to draw a card. So notice how you still have hand advantage, like you're not losing cards, you're just gaining, which is something we haven't had before. Well, that's pretty much dead, but oh well. So what we can do is we can pitch a shell and Uprising to draw 2 cards from our deck. So we have Capricious and we have Superbia. Nice. We'll activate Condemned Dark Lord's effect. We're going to pitch this to add Morningstar to hand. So this is going to help us set up for our first Dark Lord play. Now we're going to activate Banishment to search for Contact. Now we're going to activate Contact to summon Superbia. Superbia's effect will activate, allowing us to summon Isho. So now we have everything in place that we need for the first Dark Lord plays. Now we're going to activate the King Sarcophagus. We're going to pitch this other refrain. We don't really need it. We're going to send the last Horrors monster from our deck to the graveyard. So we're going to send Happy. Next, we are going to revive Happy. We're going to revive Massetti. We're going to Xyz summon. Now, you can establish a negate on board. I don't think it's going to really matter that much. But for the sake of having an example, we'll just have Hope Harbinger here. We'll have Blessing of Horus, and then we'll just Xyz summon for another negate on board. Yep. And then we have Kadam, we have Ishel on field. So Ishel can still apply the effect of Uprising during your opponent's turn. So this will get shuffled back on the deck, and then you can just send these 3. Summon the first Dark Lord, interrupt your opponent, and bam. So that's pretty much it. So again, you want to establish a pretty strong board during your first turn, and then during your opponent's turn, you want to summon the first Dark Lord for interruption. And again, you have negates on field to prevent your opponent from doing things. So that's pretty much the general gist of it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. I always enjoy interacting with you, and please consider subscribing for more awesome content. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live and upload. And until next time, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.